Amazing Ampharos here, and I'm about to continue Child of Light. I actually have a lot of choices about what I could do right now, but I'm actually going to progress the story instead of take care of some of these side quests, because the side quests involve fighting, and there's no mandatory fighting for a while in the story. So I'm just going to move onward, and I'm going to pick up a couple new characters who are both going to help me out quite a bit in this fighting, and will be able to get experience, so they'll be better later on. In particular, at the end of this, I'm going to be picking up Rambart, who's an extremely important character. He's going to be pretty much my lead for the rest of the run. And what am I getting into an encounter with? Of course, if you get ambushed, you can always just use Ignicolis to heal. With all the plants, you'll easily get all your health back before you run out of resources. Because somewhere down here should be a couple more chests. Nope, not down there. Down here? Enemies getting in my way. I'm sorry, this is a really large area I have to go through, so I really can't memorize it all. And because of autosaves, I can't practice either. So basically what you see is what you get. It'd be really nice if the enemies would just leave me alone, though. Okay, there should be 4 chests in here and a Stardust. And this is a pretty easy puzzle. Unless you get impatient like I just did and then have to push this all over again. And that's it for that secret room. And there should be 3 chests out here just to the left. Whoop. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now I need to go this way, because there's a Stardust up here. Now I can get 2 more chests by going up, which is going to force me to loop back, but there's just no way around it. Whoop. That was a mistake. Oh well, I can at least snag the confession. And then come back for that. And we can pull this up. And that should be the last of the stuff there is to find in the Methyl Disfortist. That last area was a little bit maze-like, so I stumbled a bit, but we got through. Now we're on to the plains of Rambart, where things get a little more fun. We're going to get 2 party members here, and we're going to get a whole lot of items, and Achilles, which is the pig we're going to need in order to complete one of the side quests we picked up in the last town.
Nora marched through gloomy meadows, down to a dusty plain, searching high and low for the sun and moon, despairing as she came. But just when she was certain her quest was hopeless, she was done. The path twisted to reveal, no, not the sun. Be patient, child. We have only begun.
Of course, watching that scene, if you're like most people, the very first thing you want to do is double back. Then this has a hidden one for number 2 here. Now we need to drop down, preferably not into the enemy. But this is an opportunity of sorts, as I can heal Aurora from all the damage I took from those spikes. That was supposed to be up. I'm sorry, I'm getting into a lot of encounters. It's just, I'm not really looking at the screen all that much. I'm looking at notes to tell me where all these treasures are. And the thing with the pigs is really quite simple. Achilles is always the same pig, and it's one of the last ones you run into, so I can pretty much just ignore all of these pigs. Okay, I think I might have missed one. Yep. That would have been unfortunate. Almost as unfortunate as these enemies being continually in the way. And here's our first goal, which is our next party member. This is Nora. of Nora's sister. And I'm going to drop kind of a spoiler right away. Nora is a temporary character. So you will not want to use any Stardust at all on her. That's an important point because Nora is really good, actually. You would want to use Stardust on her and invest in her as one of your main characters if not for the fact that she's temporary. But she is, and that's kind of a good case of this game giving you enough rope to hang yourself. And I'm not going into the menu to stat her up because there's no fighting between now and when I pick up Rambart, so I'm just going to take care of both of them at once. Because even though Nora is a temp, she's a very useful temp. Then we need to head in here, go through another one of these dangerous areas for another chest. And we have to come up here to hit the switch to open the way onward. But there is a lower path. And this is where the good stuff is. Because we already got that Stardust. And there is a ton of useful stuff in here. Starting with another Stardust. And then we just kind of go down grabbing chest after chest. Whoop. Got a little overeager there. Then we have to solve a little puzzle in here, but it's real easy. We'll just get the treasure on the way as we come over here. Grab that the easy way. And open a door onward. We can even grab this a little early. Then we need to come this way. Now, this is a bit of a block pushing puzzle where you have to push it through the darkness, but Ignicolas can light the darkness and even find some handy stuff for us. Now we're in here, we get another confession. And we've nearly finished the top half of the confessions. The bottom half start taking on a completely different character. The top half all appear to be written by some ancient person from Lemuria, talking about their experiences. But now we're done looting the secret room, so we just need to get out of here. Careful not to slam ourselves into spike ceilings or this fire ghost enemy. And while I'm just running away, You saw me get shot once. The enemies in this area are incredibly strong, so I wouldn't feel too great about fighting them even if I wasn't doing it on principle. Now I need to kind of work my way through here. I don't believe there's anything over here. But we can certainly grab this. Doesn't look like I can get in there yet. I'll have to find another way. And down here's another important area as we get this stardust. And this one is Achilles. You can see the mark. And now, whenever we return to Capilli Village, we'll be able to complete that side quest. Whoops! But just coming along this way, we can get this chest here. Or I can run into the enemy while I'm trying to snag a chest from underneath it. Apparently, a giant rock dropping on my head counts as me surprising the rock. Even better, I got the chest. Sometimes things work out real well like that. But I'm just about there now. Because now we have a long trip to the left where we meet up with this Capilli that ends up not really being helpful in any way at all. But we can talk to her. But she does give us 6 rough sapphires, so she's very much worth talking to, even though she doesn't tell us anything we need to know to complete our quest. And there's a ton of stuff hidden in the cliff network here, but there's stuff we're not going to be able to do until we progress some side quests and pick up Robert, so we're just going to wait. We come here to Magna, who's the giant golem we will later be entering. For now, we're just observing. And we've finally arrived at the town of Bodelus Populi. A town full of rat people. And they're all merchants, and they have a pretty terrible attitude. Starting with this guy. As he has set us on a quest to trade an apple for gold. Now, this is going to be a little Zelda-esque trading sequence, but surprising no one, we are going to do exactly that. There's another quest in this town, too, that I'm actually not going to pick up. It's in here, actually, because we're just not ready for that yet. Because you have to fight some very nasty enemies in there, and there's just not a chance we're going to be able to beat them without Rambart. But we can loot the rest of the town. And we need to stop in and talk to the mayor to get his opinion on what's wrong with the world. Apparently, they're not able to access their vault, which, if you're a bunch of money-obsessed rats, is pretty disadvantageous. And Nora does not like the rat people at all. Little does she know that Rambart, who just joined our party, is going to be the most important character for us. And that's the next dungeon to advance the story further, but we've actually done everything we need here. So we're going to level up Nora and Rambart. Let's start with Nora. Nora's 3 trees are mostly pretty good. This bottom tree is terrible. Upgrades her Defend command and the Unstoppable buff, which is not useful at all. It prevents you from getting interrupted when hit, but that's what the Defend command is for. So that's not really worth anything. The other 2 trees are really good, though. This right tree powers up Quicken, which is basically haste, makes your character significantly faster for 4 turns. And you get this passive that's really ridiculous, that lets you start ahead on the timeline. Whereas if you go for the left tree, then you're going to power up her physical, which her physical has an inherent chance to petrify when it hit, or to paralyze when it hits, which is amazing because paralysis is already the most powerful thing we can do. Likewise, you're powering up Lull, which slows enemies, a very useful thing to do itself. And I'm just going to pour everything into this left tree, because if we put all of our initial points into it, we can power up her physical right away. So that's really as far as it's worthwhile to go on this tree. So any further levels she gets, we're going to try to build toward this timeline bonus, so she'll be able to act more frequently as she just paralyzes enemies. This move isn't bad, but very long cast time is a very big disadvantage. On the other hand, Rambart likewise has two good trees and a bad one. I see a lot of people talk about improving the Hinder tree, and Hinder is a useful move, but this is the absolute worst choice. Hinder does not get significantly better when you upgrade it, and you're just wasting so many points. The other two trees are more compelling. This tree powers up single target physicals, the defend command, and gives you this passive that gives you a higher crit rate. By the time you fully upgrade it, you end up getting a 15% extra crit rate, so Rambart's critting right and left. His single target physical is really powerful, and defend is always useful. But I'm going to go with the upper tree. Antidote isn't useful in any meaningful way, but his target all attacks are incredibly important. They only have a long cast time instead of very long, and they still have a pretty high base power. And all of Rambart's stats are good too, so Rambart can pretty much just rain death on the enemies with incredible efficiency. Unfortunately, we're not really going to be able to power up rain arrows anymore until we unlock the deeper parts of his skill tree. And we are going to need his single target physical, so I'm going to spend a single point to learn that. And that's hopefully the last point I'll be spending on that tree. The rest of my building with Rambart is all going to be just down this path. Of course, this also does give him a healing move, so that does have some utility. And before I break, I'm actually going to do a little oculi crafting too, as I just got a lot of stuff. Now I can craft this with this to make a faceted tourmaline, and I can mix all three of these to make another. But I'm not done yet, because now I can do this. And I have 3 faceted tourmaline. And I can do just a little better for myself by I'll remove this. It looks like I'm going to need one of these and one of these. So now I can give everyone a rough amethyst, so everyone takes 5% less damage from physical. And now all 3 of the main physical characters I'm going to give this to are going to have a 15% extra chance to cause paralysis for 6 seconds, which is really powerful. So that is a big upgrade for all of my characters. And that's actually going to be where I'm going to break the segment, because the next thing I'm going to have to do is go around and do a bunch of side quests now that I have Rambart and Nora in the party. And I'll be doing that next time.